I'm Leah Mackey, and we are in La Junta, Colorado, which is in the southeast corner. I'm a retired school bus driver for 30 years. My husband and I run a small operation here in La Junta, do a little bit of hay, a little bit of cattle. We both still rope, drive truck, drive tractors. I still work part-time. We usually try to practice every day, or at least get the horses out every day. If we don't run calves, we usually get the horses out daily.
Leah's injuries were a collection of habitual patterns and the lifestyle that she lives. She drives a truck, she rides her horse, she's on the move morning till night. Her injuries were sustained by some wrecks on horses and just various things that accumulated and left her in a world of hurt with her hip and her back.
Just stepping in and out of the trailer, you had to be careful because it would put you on the ground. I was afraid to walk to the truck because it was to the point where I just walking back and forth here to the house, I'd fall down. You know, it would get me and I would fall down. So yeah, it was not a good time. It got progressively worse to the point where when I was riding or roping, I started anticipating, because it hurt so bad when my horses would stop, that I started anticipating the pain, which in turn caused my horses to start shorting and anticipating a stop.
Leah had a combination of injuries between her hip and her back that were kind of, one was affecting the other. She wasn't able to ride. She wasn't able to get after her days like she normally would. And this becomes a spiral. Your horses are standing around. They're not getting legged up. They're not getting the exercise that they need because you physically can't give them what they need. So it becomes a spiral effect. You're in pain. You're not able to do as much. And then your horses are standing around and they're not getting the exercise that they need by extension.
So it affected everything all the way around. Stepping in the clutch on the pickup was next to impossible. You had to lift your leg with your hand to step in the clutch. I've done acupuncture, I've done physical therapy, I've done dry needling. Every time I got to a certain point, they would tell me there was nothing more that they could do, that I just needed to go in, get an MRI, and get a total replacement. I didn't want to do that, so I just kept avoiding it and just took a lot of ibuprofen, Aleve, to try to just deal with it.
For most people, when you're in pain, you're going to go down kind of a checklist of things to try. And you start off with what is being offered to you. If you go into the conventional realm, if you go into a conventional physician's office, you're going to be offered a cortisone shot, physical therapy, pills to subdue the pain. Those are pretty much the options. And most of the patients that we see have been through all of that because it seems like it would be a simple solution. Sometimes it is. But on a lot of occasions, those things don't work. And now you've gone through those cycles and you're still having a lot of pain. That's when you do your own research and figure out what modalities and what options are available in today's realm, vast realm of healthcare.
Even the gals that I rope with, there's 3 of us older ladies that rope together. They knew how much trouble I was having because there would be days I would literally be in tears. It hurt that bad. They didn't want me to get off, and now if it's my turn to run the chutes, I can jump off and go run the chutes or whatever needs to be done. I don't think about it. Before, it was I would literally slide off my horse, or I would have to find a step to land on, or a bucket or something, because I couldn't stretch, I couldn't turn, I couldn't bend it in any way without it just being excruciating. It used to be when I would get on, I didn't want my horses to even move because I would have to get on and sit there for a minute to get my right foot in the stirrup. I would pray my horse didn't walk off till I was ready because it would just about make you pass out.
When pain takes over your body, you change completely. Your personality can change, the look on your face changes, your willingness to participate in things that you normally would changes. You can just become less social because the idea of having to walk too far or have to exert too much becomes so overwhelming that it's easier to just say thanks, but no thanks. I'm not going to join you this time. Your gait can change, the way you walk. You're tentative the way you get up and sit down. And you can really see when somebody's in pain, you can see it on their face. When you're used to doing things, you're used to doing things independently, you're relying on yourself, on your body, on your own physical ability to get through your days. And now all of a sudden, you can't. You have to ask for help. You have to pause and wait for somebody to help you. The frustration that creates, sometimes it just comes out in the way of tears. And it's frustrating. And that's where Leah got to. The physical pain that she was in was hard enough. But then you add on to that not being able to do the things that you would normally do with ease and have to start asking other people for help. That in itself, that frustration can just take you to the end of your rope.
I had been looking for an alternative. I had looked into stem cell and that type of thing. I was actually laying on the floor watching TV because the only place that was comfortable was on my back on the floor in the living room, and I saw an ad in the MSK Guide information, so I started doing some research on it and did quite a bit of research on it. I was to the point where I felt like that was the direction I needed to go. I emailed Rachel first. She got right back to me. She called me the next day. We talked, set up an appointment, and I think it was only about a week later we were headed to Arizona. Even though I did the research, there's still a question in your mind, is this the right thing for me to do? Right up until the time I walked in. Quite frankly, if the elevator doors would have opened any sooner, I'd have been gone because I was that scared to get this done, because I just didn't know.
By the time Leah got to see us, she had been through so much already. She had tried almost everything, so she thought. And when she got here to our office, she was just a little bit frustrated, a little bit skeptical, because she'd been through everything and she was still suffering in pain. So what was going to make this any different? And we spent a lot of time talking. We were able to look at her injuries in real time, and she was able to appreciate that, watching the screen and seeing how things were moving and exactly where we were going to address her injuries, at what level. She was able to see that on the screen, and I think that gave her some understanding of what was about to happen, which set the tone for the rest of her treatment and outcome.
When we stopped for the night, that was the first night in I don't know how long that I actually slept where it didn't hurt to turn over, because it had gotten to that point where even trying to turn over in bed at night was impossible. The doctors and whatnot said I had less than 3% rotation in that joint. I can tell you got way more than that now. So I would say I'm 85%, and I'm thrilled to death with that. And I feel now my roping's back to where it was before I really started having problems.
The hip is a ball and socket. So you picture a ball and socket that can't rotate or move and glide like it's supposed to. That creates a huge limitation with everything that we do. If we need to make a quick turn to the right or the left, we're counting on the gliding of that ball and socket to allow us to do those movements. If the hip is stuck or jammed up, it makes it very difficult. You're now compensating with the other side using, if it's the right hip that's the problem, you're using the left side of your body more because you're not able to really rely on the function of on the hip that's the problem. So you're starting to now shift onto the other side, creating another little chain reaction of issues on the good side. So by not having full mobility in the hip, it can create a lot of little after effects that negatively impact your ability to move and kind of act as a bit of a stifle.
I had gotten to the point where I didn't think we could go to many ropings or do much anymore. It was just kind of this is the end. And I'm totally 180-degree turn on that. I'm ready to go. I'm actually looking for a new horse right now.
The process that we used to help Leah's hip initiated her body to create its own natural scaffolding or caulking of sorts right where we told it to. And that's where the ultrasound comes in, because we're able to fine tune exactly where her body and her joint needed the healing to initiate her body to go to work and do what it does best, heal. If you are being hindered by pain, if you're sick of it, you don't want to have surgery right now or ever, follow our next video on how this roper found relief for his shoulder injury. You can go to our website, mskguy.com, or give our office a call.